As the COVID-19 pandemic rages on in most parts of the world, how are Agilists finding meaning and purpose in these troubled times? How can we connect, inspire, and support each other? In days gone by, Caravanserai has provided rest, recovery, and community for travelers along the ancient Silk Road. Similarly, we hope that our Agile Caravanserai episodes will provide rest, inspiration, and hope. We hope each episode will remind us of our shared Agile values and thus bring us closer together. In past episodes, we've heard from Agile Manifesto authors like Jim Highsmith, Kent Beck, and Alistair Coburn. We've connected with captains of industry like Michael Carroll from Nationwide Insurance. We've also heard from global Agile titans including Rashina Hoda and Evan Laybourne from Australia and Naresh Jain from India. As we begin to see the glimmers of hope for the end of the pandemic, Agilists continue to respond with resilience. This is a time for transformation. I invite you to join me as we continue our journey together. I'm Sanjeev Augustine, and this is Agile Caravanserai. Esther Derby is a consultant, advisor, author, and speaker. Esther has spent the last 25 years helping companies design their organizations for success. She has a master's degree in organizational leadership and a certificate in human systems dynamics. In 1997, she founded her own consulting business, Esther Derby Associates. She works with both startups and Fortune 500 companies. Esther is the author of more than 100 articles and several books. She started her career as a programmer and has also worked as a business owner, internal consultant, manager. I've long been a fan of Esther's work in the field of Agile retrospectives. Esther is also the host of the Change by Attraction podcast that's designed for people who want to bring change to their team, department, or organization. Esther Derby. It is 20 years, past 20 years. February 2021 was the signing of the Agile Manifesto, the 20th anniversary. And just looking backwards over the last couple of decades, what are some of your reflections from your personal vantage point?
Well, I think a lot of it was predictable.
Okay.
I think a lot of it was predictable in terms of, something that was pretty special and really, emerged from a particular set of circumstances and provided some real possibilities for forward movement and writing software in a different way. And people got really excited and really hopeful about it. And then, didn't turn out to provide everything that people wanted because maybe they didn't have the conditions where it could actually thrive, or maybe they didn't, have a deep enough understanding or whatever, or the conditions just weren't there for it and they got disappointed. And then it got taken over by big names. And yeah.
You see all of that as predictable.
Well, I think I've been around long enough to have lived through this cycle more than once. Yeah. And in some places, it's just business as usual now. Right. Some places are, it's just people are in the workforce. This is all they've ever known.
Yeah.
Right. Some flavor of Agile, which I think is great. I mean, what we would hope for is that this is just the way we do work now. I think, in some ways it is just the way certain places do business, and it doesn't necessarily look much like the Agile that people were so excited about 20 years ago looked. It's like anything, you put something on top of an existing culture and an existing set of structures, and it takes on many of the characteristics of those structures, no matter what. I mean, it just takes on the characteristics that are there, and it morphs to shape to them. I mean, if you look at history, we think we have a version of democracy here. We do have a version of democracy here, but we have this notion that if we try to export democracy to another part of the world, it's going to look just like this, like it does here, and it doesn't. Right? It takes on the characteristics of the culture, and
So maybe we end up with a ersatz Agile, just like we have an ersatz democracy.
Well, some of it, no doubt, is ersatz, and some of it is just a different flavor of it that's culturally appropriate to where it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that sort of grounded / sobered view, I did want to sort of take us in a different direction with my second question.
Okay.
Second question is, how are you doing in the pandemic? It's been 18 months, lots of stuff going on, kind of difficult for everybody around the world.
Well, we are in a pandemic, and I have been saying for a number of years that I wanted to travel less. I did not expect it to happen in this way.
It happened to you rather than you making it happen.
Yeah, rather than me, having a slow off ramp, it was just like it stopped. I was actually in Thailand when they closed down flights from China to the U.S. So, the other people I was coming back with had to be rerouted, and the travel was a little disrupted. And I did not imagine at that time that it would get to be what we're experiencing now. And I have lost family members to COVID, and I personally am still healthy and have been able to, arrange my life in such a way that personally I'm doing okay. I don't think we're going back to normal, whatever that was. I think we're going to be in a new situation that we're going to need to figure out and cope with. And, like any period of disruption and chaos, it's a chance for new things to emerge. And I think there are some interesting new things emerging already, particularly in the way people are reassessing their relationship to work.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very interesting. And I think we'll see more things like that.
Just a hopeful part of it. And you're right, we're still sort of in this valley where we're struggling through the COVID pandemic and moving on to the next normal, and who knows what the next normal after that will be.
Yeah. Well, I had several weeks in June May and June where we felt hopeful, right? Because the vaccination rates were going up and the case rates were going down, and then they switched. So
if the trend is the same bell curve, hopefully the deltas will plateau out and start to dip as well. The winter's coming.
Yeah, but now there's Mu.
That's true. And
there will be another variant after that until people do what they need to do to really stop the variants. And
so on that somber note, I'm really sorry to hear about the loss. I think we were talking earlier, we lost our co-author.
Yeah, it's very, very sad.
So a really dear friend of 20 years and colleague and co-author. And he passed away before a book was released. So it seems like it's touched every single one of us, which is really bad.
Yeah.
And yet, as you talk about moving forward to the next normal, I want to move us into our third question, which is going forward, what's your message of hope and inspiration and perhaps resilience for all those Agilists out there, and in particular the many, many fans of yours out there?
Well, I think these times present an opportunity to think of what can we change, what can we shift, what do we want to bring into being now? What can we bring into being, particularly about the way we work? Because I think we have an enormous opportunity to rethink a lot of things about work right now. Our personal relationships to work, how we value our time, what it means to work remotely, whether it makes sense to always be in the office or not be in the office. I think we have a big opportunity to rethink a lot of that. And so I hope people take advantage of it.
Take advantage of the opportunity to rethink things, reassess their relationship with work. Anything else in terms of guidance for the future?
Well, I think there's also an opportunity to notice that when a lot of travel was shut down early on, there were some very interesting changes in the natural world in terms of levels of pollution in terms of certain avian communities, and things that were happening in an ecological realm that provides a moment of potential awareness for people. Like we actually had that experiment to say, what would it be like if? And so I hope people will pay some attention to that too. And find joy where you can. I mean, I think that's this is, in many ways been a very trying time. And I have consciously made an effort to just wherever I can find joy. And one of those things has been, I go walking with some friends of mine pretty much every day. I mean, if it's pouring rain, we don't go. And if it's below 10, below 0, we don't go. But every other day we walk, which means I always have part of my day, almost always part of my day outdoors. And, the joy of being with other people and at a distance, fully vaccinated and at some distance. So, yeah, I think it's really easy to be overwhelmed. So try to find some joy.
Well, thank you so much, Esther. Really appreciate you having you on the show, and really appreciate you joining and taking some time to chat.
Yeah, thanks for having me.